On today's show, the LA Clippers began their final homestand of the season with a win against the Pelicans despite them being shorthanded. Kawhi Leonard showed why us Clipper fans should stay excited or be excited for what's to come as he continues to look like that guy again on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA. Been a Clipper fan for 20 years. Been covering the Clippers for 5 years on my own personal YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on Locked On Clippers. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube to both channels, and make sure you listen to Locked On Clippers wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, we have a newsletter, a daily newsletter written by yours truly. Go to lockedondaily.com to sign up for that. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right, this episode, we're going to be talking about Kawhi. I said after every single game that Kawhi Leonard plays, as we, get to the end of this season, I am going to be spending a segment on Kawhi Watch every time. Because that is where our season, our team has begun and has ended for 6 years. Despite the fact that he hasn't played in almost half the games, he is ultimately the guy that decides his presence on the court decides what our ceiling is to the largest degree of anyone. He's our best player, our highest earner. And what we're seeing right now is just a continuation of what we saw last night was just a continuation of what we've been seeing lately. And by the way, I have a vlog of the game on my Dime Dropper channel if you want to check that out. Fans' thoughts and footage from the game from the wall. But Kawhi just continues to play amazing. 28 points in this one, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So pretty pedestrian in the other categories. Just 1 turnover, though, which you love to see. But it's that efficiency that we're starting to see again consistently from him. 11 for 18 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the foul line, and a 114-98 win. He played 38 minutes, which honestly, I wasn't really happy with that. I thought we kind of played with our food throughout the game. And, this is a Pelicans team that doesn't have Zion, that doesn't have Brandon Ingram anymore, that everybody's injured. And they were starting Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Yves Missy, Jose Alvarado, and Antonio Reeves. We should have beaten them by 20 to 30 points and rested our starters for the majority of the fourth quarter, but that really wasn't the case. We were a little sloppy with the ball. We had some lapses defensively. We had some stretches of really stagnant basketball. Just didn't think we did a lot of the little things right. I thought, there wasn't even a stretch. Even though we only allowed 16 points in the first quarter, there wasn't that stretch of Clipper defense where you're like, oh, we're clamping down. I thought it seemed like the team was comfortable and knew that we were going to have this game no matter what. They're super shorthanded, New Orleans. But Kawhi, with his 28 points on amazing efficiency, just continues to look absolutely incredible. And here's the thing about Kawhi. Ever since the game in New Orleans, he has had 20-plus points in every single game. So I'm counting how much those are right now. Looks like 10 straight games of over 20. 10 straight games of over 20. That's big time. So the test has been passed, right? We said, is Kawhi Leonard going to be able to return to that Kawhi Leonard that we saw last year? And he has been able to. It's just now 4 more games. We're clinging on for dear life at this point, because I say 4 more games, even though we have 6, because I know he's going to sit out one of those 2 backs-to-backs. So he's going to miss 2 more games. It would be nice, ideally. We probably won't be in a situation like this, though, because Minnesota's also, neck and neck with us, and we don't have the tiebreaker with them. But if we were a game above Golden State, there was no way Minnesota could catch us in the last game. then we can rest everybody and just lose to Golden State and we'd still finish above them with the tiebreaker. But I don't think we're going to be that comfortable. So I'm assuming that Kawhi Leonard's still going to play 4 games left. And again, it's like we're only down to 4. If he can just avoid any sort of injury in these 4 games. And by the way, for anyone that's new to the show and it's going to be like, dude, you're going to jinx it. Last year, I literally knocked on wood after every single game. After every time I said anything like that. And we had him healthy throughout the year. And then around this time, he went ghost, MIA. So the fact that he's playing right now, 4 more games, that's all we need. I mean, it's so tempting to just say shut him down right now. But we're just not really in a position to do that unless we're comfortable getting the 8th seed. If you're comfortable getting the 8th seed, being in that play-in game against whoever it might be, Minnesota, Golden State, maybe even Memphis, then just sit him now. Just sit him now. Just give him like... But honestly, that might be a little too much rest. We want him to play one of these games against Dallas, but I wouldn't with only 3 games left technically for him, why not sit him out if you want to really go into the playoffs healthy? But I'm still pro play him in the 4 games. That's my takeaway there is play him in the 4 games. He's looking insane. It's actually amazing what he's looking like. I just want to make sure I'm tempering my expectations. You know what I'm saying? Cautious optimism. I talked to so many fans last night, and they were all saying, I mean, he's playing so well, cautiously optimistic about what we're doing. And it's amazing how every year we go through this pattern where he comes back, looks a little bit washed, or people think he's washed. He looks like he's, washed, but he's just really working his way back. And this season, it has taken the longest, but he has gotten to it yet again. So I'm really happy with that. His defense was pretty solid. Our defense was pretty solid, but I honestly thought our defense was okay. It's just a matter of that the Pelicans, they didn't have really any offensive guys to really threaten us. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Kawhi, he's looking fantastic. It's been a really, really great stretch for him. And, I mean, I just hope he can continue. Because what we can see potentially, and I mean, what people are talking about, this is another win at home. We're 26-11 at home this season at Intuit in our first year there. It's been amazing to us, and it's a real home court advantage. And to be able to have Kawhi potentially play in a home game in the playoffs, I mean, God, we're almost there, guys. 44-32 after this win with just 6 games left. I said we got to get 5 out of these last 7 games. There's 1. But coming up, going to talk more about the big picture of the game, some of the other guys, and what this stretch is all about. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. The NCAA tournament is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. UCLA women's basketball is still in the running. South Carolina in there as well. On the men's side, who you going with? I've got my eye on a few teams. But again, I as I've been saying, mainly on the women's side this time around, although I loved that Houston game winner. That was awesome to watch. Visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. That's FanDuel.com. All right, talking about this one. Clippers winning it 114-98 over the New Orleans Pelicans, finally getting a win over the damn Pelicans. But of course, it is a little bit different when you're playing against, their bench and third string guys for when they'd be fully healthy compared to when they're fully healthy or have other guys healthy. But anyway, so Kawhi playing an amazing stretch. The rest of the team in this one, I mean, James Harden, you can argue that he was also player of the game status, double-double for him, 21 points, 10 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, some really good moments of good hands, just 2 turnovers for him. So that's taking care of the ball, 10-2 assist to turnover ratio. I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. He shot 50% from the field, 7 for 14. 1 for 6 from three. So his three ball actually wasn't falling. 6 for 8 from the foul line. His floater game, though, was very much falling. Had a nice little and one when he was given the baseline in that second half. I think that was in the fourth quarter. Then I think towards the end of the third quarter, he had a nice floater going for that. Actually, no, it was the end of the second quarter going for that 2 for 1. So just a really solid game from James. He was able to get downhill a couple of times throughout the game and, obviously find guys for open shots. And then Zoo, another just night at the office, but just everywhere. Low post, finishing great, offensive rebounds, rim protection. There was, there were moments where he's contesting the ball handler and Jose Alvarado and then still getting to the pass to, the lob pass or the pass to the roller, guarding two at once, essentially. It's just amazing what he does for us. And those shirts were given out to certain people, the Ivica Zubac shirts with a pronunciation and saying Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, by all means, it's just, I don't speak on Defensive Player of the Year. All I've said is that Chris Dunn should be all defense, but honestly, obviously, if it's Zubac, I think should be all defense as well. It's just hard because I don't get to see other teams play, and I really don't believe in defensive metrics like that. I think some are decent, but you have to have the eye test. You have to be watching the games. I know that Evan Mobley's great at defense. I know that Dyson Daniels has had a great defensive year. I know that Lou Dort is a fantastic defender, but I don't really know. It's hard to compare. All I know is that Ivica Zubac has been fantastic defensively, and Chris Dunn's been fantastic defensively. So they've both been great. And Zoo with this one, 17 and 10, 6 assists. So handling those double teams really well. There were times in the second half where they started to throw two on the ball, New Orleans, and got Zoo in those short roll situations. He was making good reads. We've seen his maturation in that department over the course of the year and over the course of his career, really. But 17, 10, and 6, just one turnover on 6 for 8 shooting, 5 for 6 from the free throw line. It's no secret that Zoo's playing the best basketball of his career by far. We also forced 17 New Orleans turnovers. We had 13, so not too bad there. Norman Powell, 11 points for him. He was okay. He is he's the kind of like the fourth creator, so he's going to have to take a sacrificial hit. It wasn't the best shooting game for him. 4 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. I truly think Norman Powell's role on this team now that everyone's back is that he's got to make open threes. He's really got to make. It was nice to see him, have that little bully ball against Jose Alvarado, going to the basket, bank shot, but we need Norman to knock down open threes. So it was an okay game for him. Chris Dunn, thought he was really good. You wanted to see him knock down threes. Again, I've talked about the Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn conversation, what that could potentially do for our second unit. If we start Derrick Jones Jr., makes it so that Chris Dunn and Ben Simmons are sharing the court. Spacing wouldn't be that great. But Chris had 11 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, and 2 turnovers in this one on 4 for 8 shooting. And how about 3 for 5 from 3? So when Chris Dunn can make threes, I always say he's one of the best role players in the league. Some really great moments defensively from him with great hands and just on ball. Played 19 minutes. He was the only starter that wasn't in the plus minus. That wasn't in the positive in the plus minus, but again, single game plus minus. Doesn't mean anything to me. Let's see what else I got on the game. The first quarter, we were not great. Harden was guarding Kelly Olynyk to start. Zoo was on Yves Missy. Chris Dunn on Jose Alvarado. Norman Powell on Antonio Reeves. And then Kawhi on Bruce Brown. On their end, they had Olynyk on Chris Dunn. And they were really letting Chris Dunn shoot early. Just completely doubling Zoo, completely doubling Kawhi, letting us pass to Chris Dunn. And Chris had a quick 5 points early on in the game, which made them pay a little bit for that, which was nice to see. Yves Missy was on Zoo. Bruce Brown was on Kawhi. Jose Alvarado on James Harden, and then Antonio Reeves on Norman Powell. Both centers in drop. But yeah, we got a little bit of Kawhi and Harden in that first quarter, but 22-16. We weren't playing that well. Harden had 10 points in the first, so he was playing pretty well. We took Zubac out at 3 minutes, which is I think what we're going to go with is keeping Zoo in for the first 7-8 minutes of a game and going to our second unit, which is going to be a small ball unit. And then we saw Kawhi cooking again. And one thing I was saying going into the game was I want to see Kawhi Leonard looking like the Kawhi Leonard of old in front of me, because against OKC, he wasn't great. He was actually pretty good against OKC. He was pretty good, but we didn't win. And I wasn't at the Cleveland game. So I really haven't seen more than, the Milwaukee game comes to mind, but I really want to see Kawhi look like unstoppable, like he's just can't miss type of deal like we saw last year. And we started to see that, where he just doesn't matter where he's shooting from. Turnaround mid-range, shots that you just don't think are going to go in, off of, a lot of dribbling and still making it. I mean, it's crazy to see because it's not in your face the way James Harden's high-scoring games are, where he's constantly getting to the line or he's constantly hitting step backs. It just feels like kind of effortless. It's just catching his spots, couple dribbles, mid-range, and just slowly but surely, it doesn't feel like he's doing anything too hard for him or too crazy all at once. And that's why he's not as explosive of a scorer as James Harden, even in his prime. He's more efficient. You could even argue he's better depending on how you look at things. But in terms of sheer volume, getting buckets, I mean, James Harden averaged 36 points a game. And a lot of that's because his ability to get to the line, his first step, and his handle overall. But Kawhi, in terms of playoffs, he did average 30 en route to a championship, pretty efficiently too, and doing that while playing great defense. So it's just I am not trying to do arguments Kawhi and Harden and all that. Obviously, everybody knows I'm taking Kawhi all time, even though that's arguable in terms of what you value. I value rings a lot, and Kawhi two-way. I'm going with Kawhi. I don't think that's even a disrespectful thing to Harden, even if you disagree. But I'm not trying to do the debate. Like, if someone says Harden's better, I don't really care. I'm a Clipper fan. But my point is this. You got to get these ugly wins, right? You got to get these ugly wins. I thought the small ball lineup held its own. The other team just, the Pelicans just couldn't score. I almost said the other team because it's doesn't even feel like the Pelicans. They were hanging around though. Credit to them. They were really hanging around. And then I thought, Zoo had a good second half, but Bogey, he really started making shots. Several threes in that second half, particularly in that fourth quarter. And I thought our defensive rotations just sharpened up a bit later in the game, especially Chris Dunn, Kawhi Leonard, and Derrick Jones Jr. Just seeing anytime Zoo was pulled out to help or put in the pick and roll, they were ready to rotate, whether it be from the baseline, from the top, taking away that next pass. So really solid stuff there. And then we just cruised to the win, 114-98. So the moral of the story is, it doesn't matter how we get these last couple of wins. We just need to get every win that we can. Every win that we can. Because coming up, we're going to be looking at the standings, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Bogey and reading the lines of some of our role guys. I got to tell you a little something about 5-hour energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-hour energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late watching all the tournament action, and 5-hour energy helps me keep up the next day. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. That's 5-hour energy. All right, Clipper Nation, to close it out, I thought we got some great stuff from Kawhi in that fourth quarter. We got a little stagnant with Zoo and Harden out of the game in that fourth quarter. But second we got them in, we were good to go. And that's on Kawhi, by the way. When Zoo and Harden are out of the game together, we don't have that same pick and roll threat. It comes down to Kawhi isolation. Personally, I don't like too much Kawhi dancing at the top behind the three-point line, because then he becomes all these other modern NBA players that make their lives really difficult and then let the defense load up, and then they're only forced to take contested threes or not shoot them at all in Kawhi's case. He doesn't like shooting a ton of those off the dribble, and it becomes a bad possession. When we get the ball to Kawhi inside the arc, they double, which gives us an offensive advantage, which we want, or he gets to his chicken. So, again, that's what separates Kawhi, though, for me, from the Tatums, from the Lukas, from the... We'll see about SGA. We'll be watching this playoffs. Anthony Edwards, even. And also, dare I say, Kevin Durant. A lot of times in the playoffs, they like catching it outside the arc. I like the Kawhi because it's more like Mike and Kobe, who are like two of my favorites. Throw it inside the arc, make that rotation come from the top. You know what I'm saying? So you prevent the load up. You have to either hard double or you can try to load up, but Kawhi can still get to his spots. It's just a one-on-one situation, cutting off driving lanes. But Kawhi's got to, by the way, be a little quicker seeing that help, because he's still a little slow on that release of the pass. I think sometimes he just doesn't want to pass. But anyway, 114-98 is the final. It's a solid win overall. 44-32 on the season, 26-11 at home, as I mentioned. By the way, sellout streak came to an end, and it felt like it too. It did not feel like I guess the Pelicans weren't a draw enough. People are saving money for the playoffs. I don't know. But I talked about the starters. Kawhi led the way with 28. He was my player of the game. Insane efficiency. 11 for 18 from the field. 3 for 5 from 3. Zoo with another double-double. 17, 10, and 6 on 6 for 8 shooting. I love the free throw shooting, by the way. 5 for 6 for him in 33 minutes. James Harden, 21 and 10. That's 10 assists, of course, and 1 steal and 3 blocks on 7 for 14 shooting. I love the assist-to-turnover ratio there from him. 10 assists, 2 turnovers. And by the way, James Harden's been literally responding to fans on Twitter that I know. That's pretty cool of him. Chris Dunn, already talked about it. Norman Powell, not as great, 4 for 11. But again, we're keeping an eye out on him. If it comes to somebody that we're keeping an eye out on from our big four, it's Norm. Just how he's progressed from this injury. He's started to look, better and more like himself recently in the last couple of games. But this one, under 40% shooting, 20% from 3. It's not great. Chris Dunn, 11 points on 50-60 splits. Nico played 14 minutes. He was pretty quiet, honestly. 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals on 1 for 4 shooting, and all his shots were threes. Derrick Jones Jr., crazy, beautiful dunk he had. I was going to say crazy, but not for his standards. Nice dunk he had. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals on 1 for 3 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line in 19 minutes. He was a plus 11 off the bench. I thought he was, still contributing. Ben Simmons played 12 minutes, had a donut, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. He was okay, in my opinion. Just okay. 0 for 1 from the field. I'm interested to see when Coffee comes back, who do we play more, Ben Simmons or Coffee? Because I think we're lacking spacing, honestly, more than we need Ben Simmons. Because Bogey, and that's what brings me to Bogey. I mean, a really solid game. Again, the X factor for us in many ways. Whenever he plays well, it seems like we win for the most part. 16 points for him, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, just 1 turnover on 5 for 6 shooting from the field, 4 for 5 from 3. I'm almost positive all of them came in the second half. And 2 for 2 from the foul line. I mean, he's been awesome. He really has been. Big shots, even some, semi-contested threes as well there. We ended up shooting 53% from the field in the game, 41% from 3. And again, when in these games at Intuit Dome where we're shooting really well from 3, it's hard to beat us because our defense is going to be good. We were 81% from the free throw line. They actually shot well from the field, 51%, the Pelicans, but they were just 18% from 3, 4 for 22. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to win games on the road against good teams like that. They shot 73% from the free throw line. But yeah, so that brings us to standings watch with just 6 games remaining. 44-32 record for your LA Clippers. It really has been a fun season. I just hope if we can finish with Kawhi healthy. I think if we finish with Kawhi healthy, even if we did, unless we blow like a 3-1 lead or lose to the Lakers, I think we'll all be very satisfied with this season, honestly. Just how it's gone, our ability to get to the playoffs healthy and just live with the results. As Clipper fans, stands, I don't know what they think and I don't care. But the fans of the Clippers, I think we just want to see Kawhi healthy to get some potential closure on this and just be able to say that we saw it healthy in a full playoff run in front of fans. You know what I mean? So it's been a really fun season in terms of the regular season. They've done a great job, the team. They've worked hard. Harden's been great. Zoo's been awesome. Norm's been awesome. Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, we can go down the line. Last year, we were a 51-win team. We're not going to pass that, but we officially have as many wins as our 2023 team. All we need is 1 more win, so we're going to pass them. And that was my first season as host. We had championship expectations coming into the season. That was one of the seasons that I legitimately thought we had a chance to win it all going into it. And, I mean, the fact that it just shows you how much BS was going on that season. So it's been awesome that this season's been better. Obviously, more wins than the 2022 Clippers. So the 2021 Clippers and the 2020 Clippers, along with 2024, top 3 records in the Kawhi era, this is going to be 4th. 48 wins was our 2019 team. more than 2018. And yeah, Lob City, of course, more than all of them. So our 2006 team, that's one of my favorites, maybe my favorite. It's like top 3 probably, because it was a team that made me a fan. They were 47-35. Well, it'll be interesting to see if we can get that. I think we definitely can. But Bogey's been awesome. My takeaway from this final segment is that Bogey's been great. His ability to catch and shoot, his ability to get into the lane and make tough shots. It's honestly, I love Terrence Mann to death. I don't like Bogey more than Terrence right now. Bogey can have to do something crazy in the playoffs to surpass Terrence, but Bogey's better. Just is. And that's not a shot at Terrence. I said that before we even got him. Bogey's like a 6 man of the year type player. Anyway, so we're looking at the standings. Clippers, 7th seed. We're tied with Memphis now. And of course, as I said, we won the tiebreaker. So we're ahead of Memphis. And if it ended today, we'd be playing against the Grizzlies at Intuit Dome, which would be amazing because then we get a home game at Intuit. We get to play. It's just the only thing about the play-in is a risk of injury. That's because what's happened to Zion last year, what happened to Jimmy Butler last year, that really killed those 2 series entertainment-wise. Even though I still believe the Thunder and the Celtics would have won, killed it. Now, we host a game at Intuit against the Grizzlies, which is like the unofficial tiebreaker for our 2012 and 2013. We each beat each other. I've been waiting for that rematch for so long. I kept saying I wanted it in the playoffs, but I'll take it in the play-in. And then if the reward is playing Houston, by all means, I would take that. Then it sets up a potential Lakers series in the second round, which I'm fine with. Because in the second round, beggars can't be choosers. You're going to play a championship caliber team. Second round is where it gets real. So, I mean, that would be great. Minnesota has the same record as us right now, though, but they've won the tiebreaker. Golden State, 44-31. They're playing the Lakers tonight. We are both 44-32. I don't know what I want. I think we win either way, quite frankly. Because we have the tiebreaker over the over the Warriors. I just don't want the Lakers to be number 2. I want to avoid them till the second round. I just want the first series with us at Intuit Dome to be a series that's going to be all Clipper fans. That's not crazy to ask. And I also don't think the Lakers matchup is good. Who wants to see Luka with LeBron in the playoffs? I'm sorry. I didn't like seeing Luka. You think now we have to see LeBron, one of the best players ever? Like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, especially we haven't played well against them. So, but we'll talk about that later. We'll do episodes previewing potential matchups. But anyway, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper. My last 2 vlogs have not gotten as many views as the other, and they've been pretty good. Check them out. I'm asking fans a lot of questions about, how you feel about the SGA trade all these years later. Last game, I asked them that. This game, how you feel about our momentum going into the playoffs, Kawhi, who do you want to play? So go check that out. And of course, Locked On Clippers. We need to get to 7,000 subscribers before the playoffs because we're going to be in them, Clipper Nation. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. And of course, if you can't watch, listen on audio wherever you get your podcasts and the Locked On Clippers newsletter at lockedondaily.com. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.